What if the spirit of a wronged woman could return from the dead, thirsting for vengeance against those who destroyed her life? What if her rage was so powerful that death itself could not contain it? Welcome to SherlockMode. In the ancient lands of India, Pakistan, and Bangladesh, there exists a legend so terrifying that mothers warn their children to be home before sunset. A legend of the Churel, a vengeful spirit born from injustice and tragedy. The word Churel itself sends shivers down the spine. Also known as Chudale, Pikalperi, or Petni, this entity has haunted the collective consciousness of South Asian communities for centuries. According to legend, a Churel is not born evil. She is created by society's cruelty. When a woman dies during childbirth, pregnancy, or at the hands of domestic violence, her spirit may refuse to find peace. The origins of this legend trace back to ancient Persia, where it was believed that women who died with grossly unsatisfied desires would return as vengeful spirits. As the story spread across South Asia, it evolved to reflect local fears and social realities. But what does a Churel look like? Witnesses describe her as a master of deception. In her true form, she appears as a hideous hag with sagging skin, wild hair, and a black tongue. Her feet face backward, leaving confusing footprints. Yet the Churel's most dangerous weapon is her ability to shape-shift. She can appear as a stunning young woman, luring unsuspecting men with her beauty before revealing her true, terrifying nature. The Churel's hunting grounds are places associated with death and impurity. Graveyards, abandoned battlefields, crossroads, and the thresholds of homes become her domain. She is most active in the darkest hours of night. In Punjab, she is known as Pikalperi, the reverse-footed fairy. In Bengal, she becomes Petni or Shikchani, a fish-loving spirit who haunts married women. Each region adds its own terrifying details to the legend. Colonial-era writers were fascinated by these legends. Sir Richard Francis Burton documented numerous encounters, while others dismissed them as primitive superstition. Yet the stories persisted, growing stronger with each telling. One of the most famous documented encounters comes from the legendary hunter Jim Corbett. In his book, Jungle Lore, he describes hearing the blood-curdling scream of a Churel 3 times in his lifetime, and seeing her only once. Corbett described the sound as capable of curdling blood and arresting heartbeats. Through his binoculars, he spotted what appeared to be a large bird on a tree branch, but it was unlike any creature he had ever seen in his years as a naturalist. During his hunt for the Champavat man-eater, Corbett had another encounter with the supernatural. Staying at a remote forest bungalow, he experienced something so terrifying that he remained reticent about it for the rest of his life. According to his biographer, Corbett awoke outside the bungalow the next morning, shivering in fear and cold. What happened during those dark hours remains a mystery, but it left the fearless hunter deeply shaken. But Corbett's encounters were not unique. Across South Asia, villagers, travelers, and even police officers have reported sightings of the Churel. These are not mere stories, but documented accounts that continue to this day. In rural Pakistan, the legend of the Karsaz Road woman has become infamous. Taxi drivers report encounters with a bride in white who appears on the highway, asking for rides before vanishing without a trace. The bride is said to be the spirit of a woman who died in a car accident on her wedding night. Her ghost eternally wanders the road, seeking the groom she never reached, trapped between life and death. In Bangladesh, the Petni takes on a different form. Known as the spirit of an unmarried woman, she haunts fishermen and attacks those who disturb her while she feeds on fish, her favorite food in the afterlife. The Shikchani, another Bengali variant, is the spirit of a married woman who died wearing traditional shell bangles. She possesses married women, longing to live the life that was taken from her. These are not just ancient tales. In the digital age, social media platforms are filled with videos claiming to show Churel encounters. YouTube channels dedicated to paranormal investigation regularly feature Churel sightings. From the mountains of Himachal Pradesh to the villages of Bengal, people continue to report encounters with the Churel. Some claim to have captured her on camera, though skeptics question the authenticity of such evidence. The legend has evolved with technology. Modern Churel stories include spirits who use smartphones, seek revenge through social media, and adapt to contemporary urban settings while maintaining their ancient hunger for vengeance. In Himachal Pradesh, the Churel is said to appear as a beautiful woman asking for help on deserted mountain roads. Locals warn never to trust a woman alone at night whose feet point backward. The Churel's method of attack is as varied as her appearances. Some victims report being frozen in place, unable to move or speak. Others describe being lured into deep forests or graveyards, only to wake up days later with no memory of what happened. But who are the Churel's victims? Traditionally, she targets men, particularly those who have wronged women. She seeks revenge not just for herself, but for all women who have suffered at the hands of patriarchal society. The Churel often targets her own male relatives first, attacking them in order from youngest to oldest, or from most loved to least loved. Family members who showed her kindness might be spared, but those who caused her suffering face her wrath. Her methods of killing are particularly gruesome. She drains the life force from her victims, leaving them as withered old men. Some legends speak of her sucking blood, while others describe her stealing virility and youth. The transformation is not just physical. Victims who survive encounters with the Churel often suffer psychological trauma. They speak of nightmares, paranoia, and an overwhelming sense of dread that follows them for years. Throughout history, various methods have been prescribed to protect oneself from the Churel. Iron objects, prayers, and specific rituals are believed to ward off her supernatural influence. Mustard seeds scattered at doorways are said to repel her, as she becomes compelled to count each seed before proceeding. This obsessive behavior can delay her long enough for potential victims to escape. Traditional healers and tantrics claim they can banish a Churel through complex rituals. These ceremonies often involve fire, chanting, and offerings to appease the angry spirit and convince her to move on to the afterlife. But what if the Churel doesn't want to be banished? What if her mission of vengeance is justified? Modern interpretations of the legend portray her not as a monster, but as a symbol of women's resistance against oppression. This is the turning point in our understanding of the Churel legend. She represents the voice of the voiceless, the rage of the powerless, and the demand for justice that transcends death itself. In recent years, feminist scholars have reinterpreted the Churel myth. They argue that she embodies society's fear of women who refuse to be silenced, even in death. Her backward feet represent walking away from patriarchal expectations. The legend has inspired contemporary art, literature, and cinema. Films like Bulbul reimagine the Churel as a feminist vigilante, turning the traditional narrative on its head and making her the hero rather than the villain. But not all encounters with the Churel are hostile. Some stories speak of her showing mercy to kind-hearted individuals, particularly those who have shown compassion to women in their lives. There are tales of the Churel guiding lost travelers to safety, protecting children from harm, and even helping women escape abusive situations. These stories suggest that her supernatural powers can be used for good. The dual nature of the Churel, both destroyer and protector, reflects the complex reality of women's experiences in patriarchal societies. She is terrifying to those who have caused harm, but merciful to the innocent. As we delve deeper into documented cases, we find that Churel encounters often occur in places where women have suffered great injustice. Hospitals with high maternal mortality rates, villages with histories of domestic violence, and abandoned buildings where tragedies occurred. Police reports from rural areas, though often dismissed as superstition, contain numerous accounts of Churel sightings. Officers describe encounters with mysterious women who vanish without explanation. In one documented case from Punjab, a police patrol reported a woman in white who appeared at the scene of a domestic violence call. When they approached her, she vanished, leaving only backward footprints in the mud. Medical professionals in rural hospitals report strange occurrences during difficult births. Nurses describe seeing a woman in white who appears to comfort dying mothers, staying with them until their final breath. These encounters suggest that the Churel's presence is not random but purposeful. She appears when women need her most, either to seek justice for their suffering or to provide comfort in their final moments. Technology has brought new evidence of Churel encounters. Security cameras in hospitals, schools, and public places have captured unexplained figures that match traditional descriptions of the spirit. Digital voice recordings from paranormal investigators have captured what they claim are Churel voices, speaking in ancient dialects and modern languages alike, always with the same message: justice for the wronged. The legend has also adapted to modern urban environments. City dwellers report encounters with the Churel in apartment buildings, shopping malls, and office complexes, suggesting she follows human suffering wherever it occurs. Social media has become a new platform for Churel encounters. Videos uploaded to YouTube and Instagram claim to show real sightings, though skeptics question their authenticity. Psychological experts who study these phenomena suggest that Churel encounters might be manifestations of collective trauma. The legend serves as a way for communities to process grief and injustice. But believers argue that dismissing these encounters as psychological phenomena ignores the consistent details across different cultures and time periods. The backward feet, the targeting of wrongdoers, the connection to female suffering remain constant. Religious leaders offer different interpretations. Some see the Churel as a test of faith, while others view her as a divine instrument of justice, sent to punish those who have committed sins against women. The legend continues to evolve in the 21st century. Modern Churel stories include spirits who use technology, seek revenge through social media, and adapt to contemporary urban settings while maintaining their ancient purpose. Educational institutions have begun studying the Churel legend as part of folklore and gender studies curricula. Students analyze the myth's cultural significance and its reflection of women's historical experiences. Museums in South Asia have created exhibits dedicated to supernatural folklore, including the Churel legend. These displays educate visitors about the cultural importance of these stories in their historical context. Artists and writers continue to find inspiration in the Churel legend. Contemporary works reimagine her as a complex character, neither purely evil nor entirely good, but a reflection of human nature itself. The legend has also influenced modern horror entertainment. From Bollywood films to web series, the Churel continues to terrify and fascinate audiences, proving her enduring power in popular culture. International scholars have begun comparing the Churel legend to similar supernatural entities from other cultures. The vengeful female spirit appears in various forms across different civilizations, suggesting universal themes. Medical anthropologists study how the Churel legend reflects historical attitudes toward women's health and mortality. The emphasis on death during childbirth reveals deep cultural anxieties about female vulnerability. The legend's persistence in the digital age raises questions about the nature of belief itself. In an era of scientific advancement, why do people continue to report Churel encounters? Perhaps the answer lies not in whether the Churel exists, but in what she represents. The legend embodies humanity's struggle with injustice, our fear of the unknown, and our need for cosmic justice. The Churel legend also reflects the power of oral tradition in preserving cultural memory. Stories passed down through generations carry within them the collective experiences of communities. Modern ghost hunters and paranormal investigators continue to search for evidence of the Churel's existence. Their sophisticated equipment and scientific methods represent a new approach to ancient mysteries. Some researchers suggest that Churel encounters might be explained by environmental factors, electromagnetic fields, infrasound, or other natural phenomena that create supernatural-like experiences. Yet even scientific explanations cannot fully account for the specific details of Churel encounters. The backward feet, the targeting of specific individuals, and the consistent behavior patterns across different cases. The legend continues to serve important social functions. It provides a framework for discussing women's rights, historical injustices, and the need for social change in traditional societies. As we approach the end of our investigation, we must ask, what does the evidence tell us about the Churel legend? Are these encounters real, or are they manifestations of deeper psychological and social truths? The consistency of accounts across different time periods and cultures suggests something beyond mere coincidence. The details remain remarkably similar despite having no modern communication when these stories first emerged. Physical evidence, while disputed, continues to emerge. Photographs, video recordings, and even footprint casts provide tantalizing clues that something unusual is occurring in these encounters. The psychological impact on witnesses cannot be dismissed. People who claim to have encountered the Churel often suffer lasting trauma, suggesting their experiences were powerfully real to them. Whether the Churel exists as a supernatural entity or as a powerful cultural symbol, her impact on South Asian society is undeniable. She represents the voice of the voiceless and the power of the powerless. Let us analyze the evidence like Sherlock Holmes would. The backward footprints appear consistently across different accounts. The targeting of specific individuals follows a pattern of justice for wronged women. The timing of encounters correlates with places of female suffering. The legend's adaptation to modern times suggests it serves a continuing social function. As women's rights evolve, so does the Churel's role in representing female empowerment and resistance to oppression. The global interest in the Churel legend, from academic studies to popular entertainment, demonstrates its universal appeal. The story resonates with audiences worldwide because it addresses fundamental human concerns about justice and retribution. The technology-aided encounters of the modern era provide new evidence for investigation. Digital recordings, thermal imaging, and electromagnetic readings offer scientific approaches to supernatural claims. The legend's persistence despite scientific advancement suggests that some aspects of human experience cannot be fully explained by rational analysis. The Churel represents the mysterious intersection between the known and unknown. As we conclude our investigation, the Churel legend remains one of South Asia's most enduring mysteries. Whether supernatural entity or cultural symbol, she continues to haunt the collective imagination of millions. The legend serves as a reminder that some stories transcend mere entertainment. They become vessels for cultural memory, social commentary, and the human need to understand our place in the universe. Perhaps the most important lesson from the Churel legend is not whether she exists, but what she teaches us about justice, compassion, and the consequences of our actions toward others. The Churel will continue to evolve as society changes, but her core message remains constant. Those who wrong the innocent will face justice, whether in this life or the next. If you enjoyed unraveling this mystery, like and subscribe to SherlockMode.